Hey guys, it's Mikefield here. We're gonna do something very cool again. So we did this tier list like 2 weeks ago, I think, when basically nobody knew anything about the game. And I decided we'll kind of come back to it. We'll do an updated one that will be adjusted to the Darkest Tier meta. Now we've played like 100 something, maybe 200 games in Darkest Tier already. I feel like I have enough practice, I've seen enough, I talked to enough people to figure out what to do with this tier list. So let's just kind of get started. Guys, if you do enjoy watching this video, remember to like and subscribe. And without any further ado, let's just get on with the tier list editing. And there are actually quite a few things that I would like to change here. And we'll be going from the top down, so whenever we see something that is, in my opinion anyway, worth changing or moving around, I will be telling you why I'm doing this. So the first thing, I feel Abomination has to go down a little bit. I feel like he is no longer this kind of necessary component of every composition. He is very strong, obviously, but I don't feel like he is as useful or as powerful as Bounty Hunter or Man-at-Arms. I would say that the Bounty Hunter has become even more powerful as people are figuring out all those different cool things you can do with him. So, you know, the Caltrops executions, the uppercuts, that's like a lot of stuff that that this guy just can do very, very well. And I feel like he is just going to be staying at the very top until, you know, unless they do something bad about him, right? Unless they nerf him, I feel like he is just going to inevitably just stick to this very high tier. Man-at-Arms obviously just stays here for the same reason. I feel like he is so powerful in the stress compositions, in those tanky compositions as well. He is extremely powerful defensively and offensively because he just basically just disables your opponents and allows you to execute your moves. So it's just kind of clear, I feel, that he just has to stay here. Now, I wouldn't also say that he's overpowered necessarily. I feel he's just very, very strong. And he's like a core for most of the stress comps, so he just stays at S for good, I feel. Now we're moving our Herbalist up to S, and this is because there are so many popular stun compositions nowadays that I feel like the ability to cleanse the stuns along with very high reliable damage, healing, and just stealth removal as well, like all those things just kind of mean that Herbalist is indispensable in a lot of compositions, and she's just very, very strong, and not having her on your team may hinder your party in some circumstances, right? So I feel like taking an Herbalist to your team right now is definitely a good idea, and I would definitely do that. So not try to swap her out. I would say that she's definitely like going up a tier. And this being said, however, I have to make certain alterations to A+ tier as well. Jester goes down to A. People know how to play against him now. So they know that, you know, he can be pushed out, he can be stunned, he can be debuffed and focused down. So there's a lot of counterplay around the Jester. Also, like his Battle Ballad, which was very useful before, is not so strong anymore because people are just not using dodge comps as often, right? The times of Ludic Savant's build basically are over, right? That build is no longer that efficient. And this means that I don't feel like the Jester belongs in A+ anymore. He is obviously very strong, very oppressive, but also very easy to play around right now. So if you know what you're doing, you probably know how to deal with the Jester. Obviously, there are some sneaky compositions that can get those executes reliably, but that's just how it is. I feel like he doesn't deserve a spot together with those big boys. The same thing goes with the Houndmaster, honestly. I feel like the Houndmaster isn't that powerful either. He's strong, maybe even very strong, but I would say he is very squishy as well. And people are also just very quickly focusing him down, unless he has like huge dodge, which means that he has not that much damage anymore. He's just focused down and killed quite fast. So I feel like he is still a very strong option. I'm not saying like, you know, A tier means like those are excellent, powerful characters. Just that he's not as strong as my perception of him was prior to this. This being said, there's a very, very serious change for the Occultist. And I feel Occultist drops to B+, or even to B. I personally, like, I feel like he might be even B tier right now. Because not so many teams use him just because of how squishy he is and how unreliable he is as well. Obviously, he's good for moving things around, and the healing is good, and the stealth is decent. But there are just so many other things that, you know, those more refined stress compositions are doing right now that, you know, the Occultist just doesn't cut it, I think. And yeah, I feel like he only fits with strong stress compositions. Like this melee dagger build is also quite unreliable. The dagger strike has quite low accuracy, And I feel like it's not that great anymore. I feel like this is just something that Occultist was very strong on paper in those early stages where, you know, Stress was just kind of beginning to rise up to popularity, but right now it's just the Occultist he's mediocre at best. I feel he's mediocre at best. This being said, Crusader goes to A+. There is so much stuff that Crusader can do. You know, stuns, healing, sustain, overall, like the ability to actually use that protection skill, which turns out to be pretty awesome against quite a lot of things that people are trying to do. So I feel Crusader goes up, like his value is, again, very, very high. I would even kind of venture to say he might be S tier. You know, the Holy Lance damage is also incredibly high, obviously, so I feel Crusader is very, very strong right now. Another thing I would like to definitely change here in A tier is pushing a couple of characters down. So I will be pushing the Grave Robber down to B+. And the reason for this is that she is obviously very strong at single target stress damage, but there are so many characters that kind of just do her job better, or, you know, maybe don't do her job better, but just deliver more stuff at the same time. She's also very susceptible to stuns, which are quite common right now. Obviously, there are no there are quite a few heavy stun compositions, but also quite a few stun compositions that just, you know, have two characters who are capable of stunning, and Grave Robber is very, very susceptible to that. And also, like, her damage is very high. Obviously, she has quite a lot of utility there with the ability to go through protection with the pick to the face, for instance, but I feel that's just not enough. So she's gonna drop a notch. Highwayman, I feel this might make you guys angry, but he drops to B. I know he's quite strong at reposting, so against certain compositions he will work wonders, but people are just kind of learning how to play around this right now, and, you know, those stuns, again, the ability that, you know, he just dies very quickly as well, so there's just quite a lot of stuff that Highwayman just doesn't do that well, and I feel this is quite a risky thing to use him at all. Like, if you have him on your composition, he's just usually going to be this repose bot that doesn't quite accomplish much outside of that. So this being said, yeah, he's easily controlled, so he drops to B. And this is it. I think Shieldbreaker is kind of good. Antiquarian might be A+ material, but I feel like she has the same problems as the Houndmaster, though she can go invisible, so there's that, so she probably will stick to A. As far as B+ tier, I feel Hellion goes to B. Because, again, like, she felt quite okay, but honestly, like, the builds that are using her now are usually just kind of trolly. Obviously, you can use the Hemlock on her to great effect, but she also does daze herself every time she uses the breakthrough. So I feel like she's not the best. I feel she's just not the best. There's, like, and then again, other characters that just do her job quite well, and she just, you know, is not as reliable. Like, basically, she's a worse version of Jester in a lot of what she does. And this means that, yeah, she just drops to B. Obviously, Jester can stress, so if stress compositions are using her, that's good for them. But again, I feel like there are so many better choices for stress comps than the Hellion can be. So the Yop just isn't enough. There's too much stun, there's too much movement right now, accessible to all those teams. So I feel like yeah, that's it. Like, Hellion just doesn't do the job well enough. Another huge change is gonna be dropping the PD all the way to C. I feel like she is just not good enough. And it's very easy to kill her. It's very easy to just pull her to the front and just, you know, make her useless. And this means that PD is just not delivering anymore. Like, she just doesn't do her job as well as she used to. Okay, we're going down to B tier right now, and Flagellant goes all the way to A+ right now. So I had very little belief in this crazy guy, but actually, like, all the things that a Flagellant can do and played well, if you plan ahead and if you just kind of are actually using his actions efficiently, I feel like he's an excellent character and he just deserves to be very, very high up. So I didn't trust in him before, like, he was very susceptible to movement and such, and so, you know, he still is. And with how prevalent BH is, I feel like he is going to suffer sometimes. But even if he gets, you know, pushed to third row, he can still stack those regens and he can still do some things, right? So obviously his movement is also quite good, and if you have, like, a composition that can move around the Flagellant, I feel like he's just very, very strong. So I would keep him at least at A+, maybe at A, actually. You know, this lack of this movement thing is kind of making me consider this, but I feel like his actual pressure on the backline as well is immense, and he deserves this A+ spot right now. Which is a huge change for me. I didn't believe in him, but yeah, he goes to A+ for sure. I'm pretty confident he's A+ material. I played a lot of Flagellant recently, and, like, he is just ridiculously strong, guys. Okay, going up with the B tier Musketeer goes to C. We just don't see her, and the reason for this is because she's shit. Like, she's just a worse version of Herbalist, as we've already said. She can't cleanse the stuns, and she is just a less effective character, really. There are some mark compositions that obviously just utilize her, but yeah, that's all. Like, she appears in mark comps that are just super tunneling on damage, and those mark comps don't perform well anymore either. So I feel like she's just kind of a relic of the past. And like from B she goes to C, and I don't even feel bad about this. Our dear Vestal goes to A. Stun comps again, and the sustain that she does have, and the fact that she can kind of, in those like more refined compositions, she can be moved back to those to the back rows. Yeah, she could just be moved back by quite easily by Crusader or by whatever else you have there. Like Bounty Hunter can also kind of shift those positions of the the Grave Robber can also shift the position of the Vestal, right? So overall, I feel she's like good enough to deserve an A. And obviously the stuns that she has give you so much control, and you know she can reach the third row. She has like a trinket that gives her plus 30% stun chance as well, so it's like quite a lot. I feel like she deserves an A spot here at least. So Vestal does have a climb here going for her. And Leper stays where he was because he's garbage, and I'm not gonna change my mind. I'm not saying, okay, let me rephrase, he's not like complete garbage, you can make him work, but I think the amount of work that it takes to make the Leper work is just doesn't match the effect that he has in combat. So the fact that you have to buff on the first turn, the fact that you have to itemize properly, the fact that you can still get pushed even like with very high defenses because people just run a lot of movement trinkets on the Abomination or on the Bounty Hunter. There are just so many things that can go wrong, that can just go so wrong for a Leper player that, you know, I feel like Leper just deserves a spot in C, and unless they do something, like they give him at least 2 steps of movement, yeah, he's just gonna sit there forever. And yeah, he's fun to play. I have to say, like, those huge oomph hits for like 50 or 46, 48, they feel great, but other than that, really, Leper isn't that good. He isn't that good. So if you can control him, there are just several ways of doing so. She is just going to be extremely underwhelming, and that's all she wrote for him, really. Like, that's all she wrote. I feel like he just doesn't deserve to be anywhere higher than this. You know, guys, this is it, I think. We have covered every single character there is. So basically, there were like a lot of changes here in this tier list. Like, we see that the Antiquarian and Shieldbreaker stayed where they were. Also, the Man-at-Arms and Bounty Hunter retained their spots, which was kind of predictable, I guess, of how strong they seemed at first. And yeah, that's basically the rest of this. I'm very confident that those are exactly the power ratings that those characters have. Obviously, this is my subjective opinion, guys. If you don't agree with me, just let me know in the comments. If you did enjoy the video nonetheless, please remember to subscribe and follow. I do very much appreciate every single one of your subscriptions. It helps me a ton. So this will be it, guys. So if you'd like to engage in a constructive dialogue with me, I'm just gonna be waiting for you in the comments section below this video. So stay tuned for more, and see you guys. See you in the next episode. See you in the next streams. Bye bye.